We're coming up on a new year, and I want to know, are you optimistic about where your business is going into the new year? If you're not, I'm going to talk about how to 10x your business in 2025. And I'm actually going to give you 3 offensively simple steps. The reason why I call this offensively simple is some of these are going to, on the surface, appear to be obvious. However, that's where the real magic is. It's in the obvious things that we overlook where the absolute progress happens. I've been running an online business for several years, but it wasn't until the last few years that I really discovered how to make things work and grow year over year in a way that fuels me and shows me that this is working. And I'm guessing if you're here, you want your business to work in 2025 as well. So whether you're just starting with your online business and you're like, I want to get started right from the start, or you've been trying to figure out how do I make money online? How do I build my business? And you're stuck. Either way, this video will help you. And before we get started, I want to talk about why I chose 10x. There's a book that I love that I've recommended many times. It's called 10x is easier than 2x. If you want to 2x your business, it's actually hard because it requires that you do everything you're already doing just double. You just do everything you're already doing, just more of it. The problem with that is you can only do that for so long until you run out of usable energy. You've just exhausted yourself. I did this for many, many years where I found that my business was doubling every year. The revenue was doubling. However, I was just doing more and more things. It's kind of like back when I was a pastor, churches have a tendency to just continue to do more stuff. Oh, let's add this ministry. Let's add this program. And after several years, you have a very complicated system of ministries and programs that you cannot manage. Everything kind of tends towards complexity. The same thing happens in your online business. It's tempting to say, oh, this style of content works. And oh, I should also be over there on TikTok, or I should also do Instagram Reels. Oh, and I need to make another course, and I should have a community. Oh, and maybe I'll start this other business because I'm interested in that too. And oh, I'll start a third business because I'm Superman. I can do it. And eventually you're doing so many things, and maybe you're able to continue to 2x, and then you see a 2x result, which only then confirms to you that you're on the right track until you eventually go, this can't grow anymore, because if it does, I'm done. I am spent. So 10xing is different. 10xing is where you actually do more refining than adding. You get rid of the things that shouldn't be there so that you can focus on what you really want and execute on that. And so with that backdrop, the reason why I want to walk through these 3 steps is because this is the thing. These 3 steps are the path that I have taken over and over and over this year. This is how I have evaluated everything in my online business, because I had that kind of messy business that was 2xing, but not fulfilling me and overwhelming me at the same time. And these 3 steps have completely changed everything. So I want you to be able to go into 2025 having the tools that I have been using, because I think it will really serve you. So number 1, define what you want. If you are unclear on what you want, you will never get it. What does it mean to define what you want? Well, you really have to think about, in your online business, what do you want? What do you want for your revenue? Okay, how much money do you want to make? How do you want to make that money? What does your life look like? Because you can make a lot of money, but be busy and tied down to your work all the time. Do you want to work every day? Do you want to work just a few days a week? Do you want to coach people, or do you want to just do courses? Do you want to have a community offering and a set of courses, or just courses and no community, or a community but no courses? Where do you want to do content? Maybe video, maybe audio, maybe both. What does it look like for you to have been successful this year? Like really, really define what you want. Because if you don't, you truly will never get what you want, because you don't even know what that is. And I find a lot of online business owners will kind of hit the ground running with the path, the plan, which you can get, by the way, over at lanesebring.com/workshop. I give you the 4 steps to making your first $1,000 a month. It's my Turn What You Know into Dough workshop. It is great. It is free. It's on demand, and it will show you exactly how to go from like no idea what you're doing with online business. You're just interested in it, to a full-blown plan and making your first $1,000 a month. I even show you how to make your first $1,000 in the next 2 weeks. So that's all there. But even after you do the workshop, you still have to take that plan and say, okay, I'm doing the plan, but what is the result that I want? What do I want this to turn into? And that's going to really, really determine which direction you take. So one example for me is I decided at this point in my online business, I don't want a membership community. I don't want people paying me every month to be a part of a community. I much prefer to do shorter spurts of like group cohort online courses. I've talked about this a lot, 6 weeks at a time, 8 weeks at a time. I love to do one-on-one coaching in short spurts up to like 3 months or 6 months working with one-on-one clients. But I do not like to have a community that is paying me every month and me delivering content and Q&A and access to them. I did that for about a year over at my other online business, Preaching Donkey, and it really just wasn't fitting the style that I want. And that defining of what I want along the way, and that's just one example, has helped me to kind of say, here's what I want, and it's what I'm going after. So my question for you is, what do you want from your online business? And if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. The second step is remove all else. Scatter your attention, tank your results. I should say, if you scatter your attention, you will tank your results. Once you have defined what you want, you have to remove all else. That's where you go back to the definition of what do you want for your business in 2025. Anything that doesn't fit into that definition needs to go. So for example, earlier this year, I met with my coach and I was still trying to run Preaching Donkey, my first online business, and lanesebring.com, the business that you're interacting with here, where I teach people how to start and grow passive income style online businesses at the same time. These two businesses on two parallel tracks with full energy given to both. And my coach said, well, why are you still doing Preaching Donkey? He could really see that lanesebring.com was firing me up and this was so exciting for me and the results were there. And then he looks at Preaching Donkey and he's like, why are you still doing this? And all of the answers that I could give him were shoulds. Well, I feel like I should do this. I feel like it's a good resource. I've put a lot of work into it. I've been building it for a long time. And he goes, dude, you're shoulding all over yourself. You're shoulding all over yourself. And he said, what do you want to do? I said, well, what I want to do is take my personal brand into the stratosphere and help people start businesses around their passion and their deepest impact that they can make on the world. And he said, well, as long as you're holding on to Preaching Donkey, because you should, you're not really going to get what you want, which is why the first step is define what you want. So once you've defined what you want, now you got to go to step 2 and you have to say what needs to be removed. So a lot of people that I coach who are getting into online business will say, okay, just to be safe, I want to start 2 businesses at the same time. And I get this email a lot where they'll say, which Kajabi plan allows me to have like 3 different brands? Okay, which by the way is the pro plan. But I always ask them, why do you need 3 brands or 2 brands? And they'll say, well, I'm starting this, but I also want to start this other thing that's completely unrelated. And that way I'll have 2 just in case one of them doesn't work, or I've got all these ideas and I want to grow both at the same time. And the problem with that is most people cannot do that well. Anybody, I think, can do one thing well. Very few people can or even should try to do 2 things well, at least not at first and at least not for long. So I always suggest remove all else, focus on one thing and do it well. So once you've defined what you wanted and once you have removed all else, the third step is to execute. Ideas are trash. Execution is all that matters. Now, if you're an idea person, you might be going, wait a minute, ideas are not trash. Ideas are what make the world go round. It's a little extreme to say this, but nobody cares about your ideas. They don't care about your ideas until you execute on your idea. You can have an idea for what you want to do with your online business. You can have an idea for the content you're going to make. You can have an idea or a plan for the courses and coaching and products that you're going to build. But until you actually execute, until you actually do something, none of it matters. None of it makes you any money. None of it impacts anybody. None of it changes your life, and none of it changes any of the life of anybody that follows you. So if you want your business to 10x in 2025, you have to put in the work. And this is why those first 2 steps are vital. If you know what you want and you have removed everything and anything that doesn't contribute to that one thing that you're going for, then it becomes easier to execute. And you can probably see how if you haven't clearly defined what you want, but you're just kind of reaching for anything, and you haven't removed all else because you haven't really defined. So you're just kind of allowing everything to be brought into what you do on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis, then it becomes really hard to execute, because where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it? So again, if you have clearly defined what you want, you removed all else, then you execute, you are well on your way to 10xing your business in 2025. And to get you ready to do this plan in 2025, I actually have 3 books that I would recommend that you read between now and the end of the year. And one of those books is actually one that I mentioned earlier, 10x is easier than 2x. I put all that in a video that you can watch right here, where I give you 3 book recommendations between now and the end of the year to see some incredible growth in your business. So click right there and I'll see you in that video.